Captain William Hayes stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant. His ship floated in the darkness of space. Through the large window he could see stars all around. Some of them used to be human worlds before the aliens took them. William was tall, with short gray hair. His blue uniform had seen better days. Small tears and worn spots showed the hard times they had faced. His face had deep lines from years of worry and fighting. "Captain, you need to see this," said Susan Miller as she walked onto the bridge. Susan was the ship's intelligence officer. She held a tablet in her hands. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her eyes were wide with surprise. "What is it, Miller?" William asked. He took the tablet from her hands. "Our deep space sensors picked up something big," she said. "Very big." William looked at the screen. It showed hundreds of ships coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. The computer said they were human ships, but that was impossible. The Zenovian Empire had destroyed all human fleets 50 years ago. "Are you sure this is right?" William asked. "Could the sensors be wrong?" Susan shook her head. "I checked 3 times, sir. Those are human energy patterns, but they're stronger than anything we've ever had." William walked to the main screen and made the image bigger. The ships were unlike any human design he had seen before. They were sleek and powerful. Their hulls gleamed even at this distance. "How many?" he asked quietly. "Over 500 large warships," Susan said, "and at least 1,000 smaller ones. It's the biggest fleet I've ever seen, bigger than anything the Empire has." The bridge grew silent. For 50 years, humans had been running and hiding. The mighty Zenovian Empire had crushed Earth's colonies one by one. Most people thought Earth itself had been destroyed long ago. "Sir," said the young communications officer, Ryan White, "we're getting a message from the lead ship." William's heart beat faster. "Put it through." The screen changed to show a woman, in a crisp black uniform. She had short blonde hair and fierce eyes. Stars and stripes decorated her shoulders. "This is Admiral Karen Wilson of the Earth Fleet," she said. Her voice was strong and clear. "We're looking for any human survivors in this sector." William couldn't speak for a moment. The Earth Fleet was supposed to be gone. Everyone knew they had been lost 50 years ago when they went to defend the Wormhole Junction. "This is Captain William Hayes of the USS Defiant," he finally said. "Admiral, did you say Earth Fleet? Earth still exists?" Karen Wilson smiled. "Not only exists, Captain. Earth has been busy. We've come back to take what's ours." William looked at Susan, who was crying silently. Ryan was grinning from ear to ear. All around the bridge, his crew showed hope for the first time in years. "Admiral," William said, "the Zenovian Empire controls most of the galaxy now. They have thousands of warships." "And we have better ones," Karen replied. "The Empire is about to learn a hard lesson, Captain Hayes. Humanity doesn't stay beaten." William felt something he hadn't felt in decades: pride and hope. "The Defiant is at your service, Admiral," he said. Karen nodded. "Good. Because we're going to need every ship and every fighter. Send us your coordinates. The first strike against the Empire begins tomorrow." As the communication ended, William looked at his crew. "Spread the word," he ordered. "Earth has returned, and they've brought an armada." Admiral Karen Wilson stood in the control room of the Earth Fleet flagship, the Avenger. The ship was huge, 10 times the size of any warship humans had built before the war. Its curved walls were made of a strange metal that changed colors in the light. Karen had been only 25 years old when the Zenovian Empire attacked Earth's colonies. Back then, she was just a junior officer. Now her hair was streaked with gray, and her eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen too much. "Admiral, the Defiant has sent their coordinates," said Commander Joseph Lee. He was a tall man with kind eyes and dark skin. "They're hiding in an asteroid field near what used to be the Centauri colony." Karen looked at the giant map of stars floating in the middle of the room. A small dot blinked where the Defiant waited. "So few survivors," she said quietly. "I had hoped for more." Joseph nodded. "We've found only 12 human ships so far. The Empire has been thorough." Karen walked around the star map. 50 years ago, Earth had sent its entire defense fleet, 300 ships to protect a key wormhole junction. The Zenovian Empire was attacking through it. But something strange happened during the jump. The fleet was thrown thousands of light years away and several decades into the future. "Tell Captain Hayes we'll meet him in 6 hours," Karen said, "and prepare a full briefing on everything we've missed in the last 50 years. Joseph left to carry out her orders. Karen kept looking at the map. The red areas showed Empire control. Almost the entire map was red. "Quite a challenge you've picked," said a voice behind her. Karen turned to see Chief Engineer Olivia Grant. Olivia was in her 60s now, with white hair and hands stained from years of working with machines. She had been the one who figured out how to use the alien technology they found. "We had no choice," Karen said. "We couldn't stay hidden forever." "True," Olivia agreed, "but taking on the whole Empire, even with our new ships, that's a big bite." Karen smiled. "That's why we made friends." She touched a button on her wrist device. The star map changed. Blue dots appeared throughout the red Empire space. There were hundreds of them. Each blue dot is a resistance cell, Karen explained, or an ally we've made beyond the rim. The Arcturians gave us their phase technology. The Meridians taught us how to build quantum drives. Olivia nodded, impressed. "And they're all ready to fight?" "They've been fighting already," Karen said. "They just needed hope. We're bringing it to them." A young officer ran into the room. "Admiral, we're getting signals from 3 more human ships. They're coming out of hiding to join us." Karen felt a surge of pride. "See?" she said to Olivia. "It's already working." On the main screen, a small ship appeared. It looked old and patched together many times, but it flew straight and proud towards the Earth fleet. "Open a channel," Karen ordered. The screen changed to show a young woman with red hair. Her uniform was faded and torn in places. "This is Captain Lisa Brown of the Freedom," she said. Her voice shook with emotion. "We've been hiding for 15 years. Is it true? Has Earth returned?" Karen stepped forward. "It's true, Captain Brown. And we're not alone. We've brought new technology, new allies, and a plan to take back everything the Empire stole from us." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "My crew is ready to fight, Admiral." "Good," Karen said, "because tomorrow we strike the first blow. The Empire won't know what hit them." As more hidden human ships joined the fleet, Karen went to prepare for the coming battle. After 50 years lost in space, humanity was back. And this time, they weren't running away. High General Zakathar stood on his command platform in the Imperial Palace. He was tall, even for a Zenovian. His skin was pale blue and covered in small scales that caught the light. 6 eyes lined the top of his head, and his mouth was full of sharp teeth. "What do you mean, unknown fleet?" he asked. His voice was deep and angry. "Nothing enters Imperial space without our knowledge." The officer in front of him shook with fear. "The sensors picked them up at the edge of the Arcturus sector, High General. Over 1,500 ships. They appeared suddenly, as if from nowhere." Zakathar laughed. The sound was like rocks breaking. 1,500 ships? Impossible. No race in the galaxy could hide such a force from us. "The energy readings suggest they might be human, sir." The room grew quiet. Zakathar's 6 eyes all turned to focus on the officer. "Humans?" he said, slowly. "The weak creatures we crushed 50 years ago? Their homeworld is a dead rock. Their colonies are ours." "Yes, sir, but enough." Zakathar waved a clawed hand. "Send 3 battle groups to investigate. If they are humans, destroy them. They are not worth my attention." The officer bowed and left quickly. Zakathar turned to look at the giant map of the Empire that covered one wall. It showed thousands of star systems, all under Zenovian control. The Empire had ruled for 10,000 years. No force could challenge it. "Humans," he said to himself. "How annoying." In a different part of the palace, Governor Richard Bell walked through a garden. He was one of the few humans who worked for the Empire. He had short brown hair and always wore the green uniform of an imperial governor. 50 years ago he had betrayed his own people to save himself. "Governor Bell," said a voice behind him, "you have an urgent message." Bell turned to see his assistant, a young Zenovian named Kraz. "What is it?" "It's about the unknown fleet, sir. They appear to be human ships." Bell froze. "Human ships? How many?" "Over 1,500. More than enough to—" "To what, Kraz?" Bell snapped. "To challenge the Empire? Don't be stupid." But inside, Bell was afraid. He knew humans better than the Zenovians did. If humans had somehow built a fleet that large, they weren't coming for peace. "Has the Emperor been told?" he asked. "Yes, sir. He dismissed it as a minor concern." Bell nodded slowly. "Of course he did. The Emperor has never understood the danger humans pose." He had to think fast. If humans were really back with a fleet that size, everything could change. The Empire might fall. And if it did, what would happen to traitors like him? "Kraz, I need to send a message. A private message." Bell looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Find a way to contact Amanda Clark on Europa." Kraz's eyes widened. "The Resistance leader? Sir, that would be treason." "Just do it," Bell hissed. "And tell no one." As Kraz hurried away, Bell looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, a human fleet was coming. A fleet that should not exist. He had betrayed humanity once to join the winning side. Perhaps it was time to betray the Empire too. In his private chambers, Bell accessed a secret computer terminal. He typed quickly, sending a message to the Imperial Defense Command. "Increase security at all shipyards. The human threat is real." Then, he sent a second message, this one encrypted and bound for Europa. "Old friend, we need to talk. The tide is turning." Bell had survived this long by knowing when to switch sides, and something told him that after 50 years the Empire's time might finally be ending. Colonel Frank Martinez sat in the pilot seat of his ship, the Shadow. It was a new type of ship, smaller than the big warships but faster and with a special ability. It could turn partly see-through and pass through solid objects for a few seconds. The humans called it phase technology, a gift from their new alien friends, the Arcturians. Frank was in his 40s, with dark hair and eyes that had seen too much war. He led a group of 20 ships just like his, all painted black to hide. "Better in space." "All ships report ready, Colonel," said his second-in-command, Natalie Jones. She was young but smart, with short red hair and quick hands on the controls. "Good," Frank said. "Remember the plan. We go in fast, we hit the shipyards, and we get out. No heroes today." The target was the Imperial shipyards at Proxima Centauri. Once it had been a human colony, a place where children played under a warm sun. Now it built warships for the Empire. Admiral Wilson's voice came through the radio. "Shadow Squadron, you are clear to begin. Good hunting." Frank took a deep breath. "All ships, activate phase drives on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Mark." The shadow seemed to flicker like a bad picture on a screen. Frank felt a strange tingle as his ship and all the others like it partly left normal space. They could now pass through solid objects. The squadron flew straight toward the huge energy shield that protected the shipyards. In normal times, the shield would destroy any ship that touched it, but the phased ships passed through it like it wasn't there. Inside the shield, they found dozens of half-built Imperial warships. The yard workers, mostly aliens with 4 arms, looked up in shock as the human ships appeared. "Target the power cores," Frank ordered. "Fire when ready." 20. Ships fired as one. Beams of bright light hit the power cores of the Imperial ships. Explosions bloomed in space, bright against the darkness. "Second pass," Frank called. "Target the construction docks." They flew in again. More explosions. The Imperial defenses were finally starting to react, but they were too slow. "They're bringing up their big guns," Natalie warned. "We have 30 seconds before they can aim." Frank nodded. "Final pass. Target the control center, then we're gone." The Shadow Squadron made one more attack run. The control center, a giant tower at the center of the shipyards, exploded in a ball of fire. "Phase drives now," Frank shouted. The ships phased again just as the Imperial guns opened fire. The energy beams passed harmlessly through the human ships, Within minutes, they were outside the shield and jumping to safety. "Damage report?" Frank asked, his heart still racing. Natalie checked her screen. "None, sir. 0 casualties. The mission was perfect." Frank couldn't believe it. They had just destroyed one of the Empire's biggest shipyards without losing a single person. "Admiral Wilson, this is Shadow Leader," he said into his radio. "Mission complete. Shipyards destroyed. All ships returning to base." Karen's voice came, back, clear and proud. "Well done, Colonel. The same reports are coming in from all sectors. 6 shipyards destroyed in one day. The Empire just lost half its shipbuilding ability." As they flew back to the main fleet, Frank saw another ship joining them. It was the USS Defiant, the old survivor that had fought for so long. Captain William Hayes's voice came over the radio. "That was quite a show, Colonel. I've never seen ships do what yours just did." Frank smiled. "Stick around, Captain. You haven't seen anything yet. The real war is just beginning." William's reply was simple but filled with emotion. "For the first time in 50 years, Colonel, I think we might actually win." As the ships flew together through the darkness of space, word of the attack spread across the galaxy. The Empire had been hit hard and the humans were just getting started. Amanda Clark worked in the shadows for years. Her base was hidden deep under the ice of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The Empire thought Jupiter was empty, just another gas giant with useless moons. They were wrong. Amanda was in her late 30s with long brown hair that she kept tied back. She had a scar across her right cheek from a close call with an Imperial patrol. Her eyes were always alert, always watching. "We just got word from Titan Base," said her communications officer, Paul Green. "The shipyards at Proxima Centauri have been destroyed by human ships." Amanda stopped what she was doing. "Human ships, are you sure?" Paul nodded. "Phase technology. They went right through the shields." A smile spread across Amanda's face. For 10 years, she had built a network of spies and fighters across what was left of human space. They sabotaged Imperial ships, stole supplies, and kept hope alive. But they were always too few, too weak to make a real difference until now. "Send messages to all cells," she ordered. "It's time to move from hiding to fighting. The moment we've waited for is here." Paul started typing on his computer. Around the room, other resistance members began to talk excitedly. One of them, a young woman named Beth Davis, came up to Amanda. "Is it really happening?" she asked. Her parents had been killed by the Empire when she was just a child. "Are we really fighting back?" Amanda nodded. "It's happening. Somehow, Earth has returned, and they've brought friends." Her computer beeped. A message was coming in, heavily encrypted. Amanda's fingers flew over the keyboard, unlocking it. "It's from Governor Bell," she said, surprised. Richard Bell had been her friend once, long ago, before he betrayed humanity to save himself. Now he was a high-ranking Imperial official. The message was short. "Old friend, we need to talk. The tide is turning." Amanda's eyes narrowed. Bell was a survivor, always looking out for himself. If he was reaching out now, it meant he thought the Empire might lose. "Should we trust him?" Paul asked, reading over her shoulder. "No," Amanda said. "But we can use him." She sent a reply. "Prove your good faith. Send us the defense plans for Mars colony." As she waited for an answer, another message came in. This one was from Admiral Karen Wilson of the Earth Fleet. Amanda had never met her, but she had heard stories about the Lost Fleet for years. "Resistance forces, this is Admiral Wilson," the message read. "We need to coordinate our attacks. The Earth Fleet will engage Imperial forces in space. Your fighters need to take control of key planets." Amanda felt her heart beat faster. This was bigger than anything she had imagined, a real chance to defeat the Empire. She sent a response. "Admiral Wilson, this is Amanda Clark of the Europa Resistance. We have cells on 12 worlds ready to rise up. Just give the word." While she waited for a reply, Bell's message came back. "Mars defense plans attached. There's more where that came from. The Empire doesn't understand human determination. They never have." Amanda looked at the attached files. They were real. Detailed plans of every Imperial defense on Mars. Send this to Admiral Wilson, she told Paul, and tell all our cells on Mars to prepare. When the fleet attacks, we rise up from within. Across the galaxy, on a dozen worlds, humans who had hidden for years began to prepare for war. In secret, bases in hidden bunkers, weapons were distributed, plans were made. Hope, for the first time in 50 years, began to spread. The Empire had ruled for 10,000 years, but they had never faced a species like humans before. And now, with the Earth fleet returned and the resistance ready, the real war was about to begin. Emperor Vexmore sat on his throne made of rare black crystal. He was older than any human could imagine, over 500 years old. His skin was dark blue, almost black, and his 6 eyes glowed with an inner red light. He wore robes of gold and purple, the colors of the Empire. "High General Zaktar," he said, his voice like stones grinding together. "I am told we have lost 6 shipyards in a single day." Zakatar knelt before his emperor, his head bowed low. "Yes, mighty one. The humans have returned with new technology. They can phase through our shields." The emperor's eyes flashed brighter. "Humans? The same weak creatures we nearly wiped out 50 years ago?" "The same, Emperor. But they are no longer weak. They have over 1,500 ships, many with technology we have never seen before." The Emperor stood up slowly. He was tall, nearly 8 feet, and his movements were smooth despite his age. "I have ruled this empire for 200 years, he said. "I have crushed 100 rebellions. These humans are nothing new." He walked to a large window that looked out over the capital city of the empire. Buildings stretched as far as the eye could see, all made of gleaming metal and crystal. "Send the Imperial Armada," the Emperor ordered. "All of it. 10,000 ships should be enough to crush these insects once and for all." Scathar looked up, surprised. "All of it, Emperor. That would leave our core worlds defenseless." "Are you questioning my orders, General?" The Emperor's voice was soft, but dangerous. "No, Emperor," Scathar said quickly. "The Armada will be dispatched immediately." "Good. And there is one more thing." The Emperor turned back to his throne and touched a hidden control on the armrest. A secret panel opened in the floor, revealing a strange device. It was a sphere about 3 feet across, made of a metal that seemed to shift and move like liquid. "The Mind Forge," the Emperor said. "Our scientists completed it last year. It can control the thoughts of an entire planet at once. We will use it on any world that dares to rebel." Scathar stared at the device. Even he, a high general, had only heard rumors about the Mind Forge. "Is it safe to use, Emperor?" he asked carefully. "For us, yes," the Emperor said with a small smile that showed his sharp teeth. "For the humans and any who help them, it will be the end of free thought. They will become willing slaves of the Empire." Zekthar bowed again. "I will lead the Armada personally, Emperor. We will not fail you." "See that you don't," the Emperor said. "I want the human fleet destroyed and their worlds brought under the Mind Forge's control within 1 week. Then we will finally have peace in the galaxy." As Zikathar left to prepare the Armada, the Emperor looked again at the Mind Forge. For 10,000 years, the Empire had ruled through fear and force. But with this device, they would rule through absolute control of their subjects' minds. Far away, Admiral Karen Wilson stood on the bridge of her flagship. Reports were coming in from all their attacks. They had hit the Empire hard, but she knew the real fight was still to come. "Admiral," said Commander Joseph Lee, "our sensors are picking up massive fleet movements in Imperial space. It looks like they're gathering their forces." Karen nodded. "As expected, the Emperor won't take our attacks lightly." "It's a lot of ships, Admiral," Joseph said, concern in his voice. "Early counts suggest nearly 10,000. Karen smiled grimly. "Then we'll need to be smarter, not just stronger. Send word to Colonel Martinez. It's time to set our trap at Arcturus." As both sides prepared for the coming battle, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The Empire had numbers and the terrible power of the Mind Forge. But humanity had something the Emperor didn't understand: hope and the fierce determination to be free. The Arcturus system was quiet. Its 3 suns cast golden light on the empty space where 2 fleets were about to meet. Admiral Karen Wilson had chosen this place carefully. It looked like empty space, but it wasn't. It was a trap. Imperial fleet, approaching, Commander Joseph Lee reported. 10,000 ships, just as our intelligence said. Karen nodded. She stood on the bridge of the Avenger, watching as tiny dots of light appeared on the main screen. Those dots were the Imperial Armada, the largest collection of warships in the known galaxy. Are our ships in position? She asked. Yes, Admiral. All 1,500 ships are ready. The Shadow Squadron is hidden behind the 3rd moon. Karen took a deep breath. The Empire's ships outnumbered hers by almost 7 to 1. In a normal battle, they would lose. But this wasn't going to be a normal battle. All ships hold position, she ordered. Let them come to us. On the Imperial flagship, High General Zukathar smiled as he saw the human fleet. So few, he said to his officers. The Emperor was right. They are nothing but insects to be crushed. The Imperial ships moved forward in perfect formation, their weapons charged and ready. They're not running, Zukathar said, surprised. They mean to fight us. Sir, said an officer. Our sensors detect strange energy readings near the 3rd moon. Ignore it, Zukathar ordered. Focus all firepower on their main fleet. Begin the attack. Thousands of energy beams shot out from the Imperial ships headed straight for the human fleet. Now, Karen shouted. The human ships activated their shields, but these weren't normal shields. They were made with technology from the Meridians, one of humanity's new allies. The shields didn't just block the Imperial weapons, they absorbed the energy and grew stronger. Phase 2, Karen ordered. The human fleet began to move in a complex pattern like a dance in space. It made no sense to the Imperials. The human ships weren't attacking, they were just moving in strange ways. What are they doing? Zukathar demanded. Attack again, full power. The Imperial ships fired again. Again, the human shields absorbed the energy. They're hurting us, an Imperial officer suddenly realized. Moving us toward... Before he could finish, Colonel Frank Martinez gave the order to his Shadow Squadron. Attack. 20 black ships appeared from behind the moon, their phase drives active. They flew through the Imperial ships, passing through solid matter like ghosts. But their weapons were real. Each time they passed through an Imperial ship, they fired, inside its shields hitting critical systems. Phase ships, Zukathar shouted. Target them. But the phase ships were too fast, too hard to hit, and they weren't the real threat. Admiral, Joseph said to Karen, the Imperial fleet is in position. Karen nodded. Activate the quantum disruptor. At the center of the human fleet, a ship unlike any other powered up its main weapon. It was the result of technology shared by 3 different alien races, all united against the Empire. The ship fired a beam of pure white light. The beam struck a point in empty space, and suddenly, space itself tore open. A wormhole appeared, its mouth wide enough to swallow ship's whole. What is that? Zukathar screamed, as he saw a third of his fleet being pulled toward the hole in space. It's a quantum disruptor, Karen said over an open channel to all ships. It creates temporary wormholes. Your ships are being sent somewhere else. We're not sure where. As thousands of Imperial ships disappeared into the wormhole, Frank Martinez led his team on their most dangerous mission yet. They phased directly onto Zukathar's flagship, fighting their way to the bridge. The battle that followed destroyed half the command center. Imperial guards fought hard, but they had never faced humans with phase technology before. Frank came face to face with Zukathar himself. The High General was a fierce fighter, his claws slashing at Frank's armor. You cannot defeat the Empire, Zukathar roared. Frank smiled grimly. We already have. Look around you. Outside the viewport, the Imperial fleet was in chaos. A third, gone, many more damaged or destroyed by the Shadow Squadron. The Battle of Arcturus had begun, and humanity was winning. News of the Imperial defeat at Arcturus spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The mighty Empire, unbeaten for 10,000 years, had lost a major battle. More than that, a third of their fleet was simply gone, swallowed, by a human weapon that no one understood. On a dozen worlds, people rose up against their imperial rulers. The resistance, led by Amanda Clark, struck at government buildings and military bases. Alien races that had been conquered by the Empire joined the fight. But Emperor Vexmore was not ready to surrender. In his throne room, he activated the Mind Forge. The strange device hummed to life, its metal surface flowing like liquid. "If I cannot rule through fear," he said to himself, "I will rule through control." The Mind Forge could take over the minds of everyone on a planet. The Emperor aimed it at Earth first, the homeworld of the humans who dared to challenge him. But Governor Richard Bell had sent one last message to Amanda before Imperial security found him. The message contained the location of the Mind Forge and how it worked. "We need to destroy that device," Admiral Karen Wilson said when she heard the news, "or the whole galaxy will fall under mind control." Captain William Hayes of the USS Defiant volunteered to lead the mission. "My ship is old," he said, "but it's small and fast. We can get to the throne world." With Susan Miller's help, William planned a daring attack. The Defiant would use the confusion of the war to slip past Imperial defenses. A small team would land on the throne world and destroy the Mind Forge before it could be fully activated. The mission was nearly impossible. The throne world was the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy, but they had no choice. As the Defiant approached the Imperial capital, Emperor Vexmore made his final move. He activated a doomsday weapon, hidden deep beneath his palace. If he couldn't rule the galaxy, he would destroy it. "Better nothing exists than I am defeated," he told his guards as they prepared his escape ship. But the Emperor had never truly understood humans. Susan Miller had studied Zenovian culture for years. During the attack on the palace, she discovered an ancient law in their traditions. "By the right of Kavex, I challenge the Emperor's rule," she called out in perfect Zenovian as they reached the throne room. The guards stopped, shocked. The right of Kavex was an ancient custom that allowed for peaceful transition of power. It hadn't been used in 5,000 years, but it was still valid in their laws. "This human knows our ways," one guard said, surprised. Susan stood tall. "The Emperor has failed his duty to protect the Empire. He would destroy what he cannot rule. By your own laws, he must step down." The Emperor raged, but his own guards turned on him. The Zenovian sense of order and law was stronger than their loyalty to one ruler. The doomsday weapon was deactivated. The Mind Forge was destroyed. Without their Emperor, the remaining Imperial forces began to surrender. In the days that followed, representatives from 100 worlds met on neutral ground. Admiral Karen Wilson proposed a new system, a galactic federation where all species would have equal voices. "We don't want to replace one empire with another," she told the assembly. "We want to build something better." William Hayes stood on the observation deck of the newly repaired USS Defiant. Through the window, he could see ships from dozens of different worlds gathering for the first meeting of the Federation Council. "Did you ever think we'd see this day?" Susan Miller asked as she joined him. William shook his head. 50 years, hiding from the Empire, and now this, a whole new beginning. As they watched, more ships arrived, each one carrying representatives from worlds that had been enemies just weeks before. Now they came together in peace. "That's the thing about humans," William said with a smile. "We never give up. We never stop trying to make things better." The stars stretched out before them, no longer filled with danger but with promise. Humanity had not just survived, they had changed the galaxy forever.